Welcome back to another explainer. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. We are escaping that endless, exhausting rush of modern life, and we're heading on a beautifully slow journey to Nagano, Japan. We're going to uncover how one tiny, seemingly simple piece of infrastructure actually carries a century of a community's heart and history. Now, we're looking at a region totally surrounded by the breathtaking Northern Alps and Mount Asama. It's a place where people have quite literally been crossing paths for centuries. But get this, we aren't focusing on some massive, sprawling transit network today. No way. We're zeroing in on one tiny, quiet, resilient railway. So let's just dive right in with a number, 11.6. I want to ask you, what kind of profound historical shift and what kind of emotional weight could you possibly experience traversing a distance of just 11.6 kilometers? I mean, that's practically nothing, right? But that is the exact length of the Bessho Line. It is a journey that takes roughly 30 minutes from start to finish. But as you're about to see, that short little ride holds well over 100 years of everyday memories for the people living in this region. Section 1. A Tale of Two Trains. Our journey actually kicks off at modern-day Ueda Station. It's this bustling gateway where two completely different philosophies of travel just collide head-on. On one side, you've got the ultra-modern Shinkansen bullet train. It's all about prioritizing lightning-fast speed, seamlessly zipping people from the region right into Tokyo and beyond. But if you just step slightly away from that main concourse, you'll find the incredibly modest Bessho Line. We're talking about a one or maybe two-car train that fully, unapologetically embraces a slow-paced trundle right into the past. For this train, it's not about rushing to a destination. It's entirely about the experience of the landscape. Moving on to Section 2, Before the Tracks. Now, to really appreciate why this slow train is so special, we gotta rewind a bit. Think about how people got around the Shioda Plain before these tracks were even laid down. Back in ancient times, the Higashiyama path ran right through here. It acted as this vital corridor connecting the capital with the eastern provinces. And for centuries, travel meant slow, exhausting, arduous treks on foot, or maybe horseback if you were lucky, along incredibly rough mountain paths. Just taking a trip to heal in the local hot springs was a massive undertaking. But then, in 1921, Japan was rapidly modernizing. The life-changing Bessho Line finally opened its doors, and it transformed what was essentially an isolating landscape into a fully connected community almost overnight. All right, Section 3, The Lone Survivor. When those trains finally arrived, oh man, it was an absolute game changer for the locals. I mean, literally a revolution. Suddenly, you had students who could commute to distant schools, merchants could easily reach regional markets to sell their goods, patients, and this is absolutely crucial, could finally travel safely for critical hospital care. And local farmers? They started loading their seasonal crops right onto rail cars instead of lugging them on horse carts. The railway completely changed everyday reality, seamlessly stitching the rural villages and the bustling town together. It really became the undeniable lifeblood of the whole region. But hey, progress never really hits the pause button, right? As roads got better and the era of the automobile completely took over, that massive regional rail network began to shrink. The neighboring lines running to places like Awaki, Mariko, and Sanada, they just sort of faded into history. Their tracks were literally pulled up, leaving the Bessho Line as the solitary survivor in the Ueda Basin. Now it carries the region's collective memory all by itself. Which brings us to Section 4, Memories in the Scenery. Okay, you absolutely cannot talk about the Bessho Line without bringing up the beloved Maramato train. I mean, just picture those iconic, quirky, round windows. For the locals, this isn't just transit, it's a nostalgic, moving monument. Whether it was a childhood commute to school or, a weekend family trip to the hot springs, the Maramato train holds the personal memories of multiple generations. It perfectly proves that a train isn't just a machine made of metal and gears. It's a keeper of human time. And, when you're looking out those quirky windows, you're not just staring at dirt and grass. Because it travels so slowly, the train basically presents a live, chronological painting of the Shioda Plain's shifting seasons. You go from shining water paddies in the spring, to golden rice fields in autumn, all the way to gorgeous snowy peaks in winter. You slowly pass through stops like Shimonogo Station, which is home to the ancient Ikeshimatarashima Shrine, and you glide quietly past these mountain-hugged temple villages that you would completely, 100% miss if you're speeding by in a car. Let's look at Section 5, The Storm and Survival. Now, it hasn't always been a smooth ride. Like a lot of rural lines across Japan, the Bessho Line has had to deal with some tough realities, like a shrinking population and super high maintenance costs. But the ultimate test came in 2019 when Typhoon Hagibis struck. It severely damaged the Chikama River Bridge, and all train operations were completely halted. Honestly, it looked like the absolute end. But here's the thing. It wasn't just an infrastructural failure. It was a profound test of this community. And the locals, they rallied with massive emotional and financial support. They basically declared, hey, this railway isn't just for tourists. It is essential to our daily lives. So the bridge was painstakingly restored, and the trains ran once again, beautifully reuniting the community. And finally, Section 6, the final stop. So our resilient little train pulls into its final destination, dropping us off in a place where it feels like the modern world just melts away completely. Arriving at Bessho Onsen Station, you literally step out of the train and right into living history. You're greeted by these historic hot spring inns, streets filled with drifting steam, and just incredible architecture. In fact, the Shioda Plain is often called the Kamakura of Shinshu because its collection of cultural heritage is so rich. You can walk right up to Onrakuji Temple's national treasure, this stunning octagonal three-story pagoda, or visit the deeply revered ancient Kitamuki Kannon Temple. The train is quite literally a gateway straight into the deep, spiritual past of the region. And that brings us to this incredibly gorgeous philosophy from the source material. It says, where people need a place, a path is born, and a cherished path survives the ages. I mean, wow. That perfectly captures the core takeaway of our explainer today. A century ago, the people who built the Bessho Line couldn't have even imagined our modern world, but they knew exactly what their community needed. This little 11.6-kilometer track doesn't merely transport tourists. It continuously carries a century of human connection, survival, and memory. So, as we wrap up this incredibly scenic journey together, I really want to leave you with this question to chew on. What small, slow paths in your own fast-paced world carry the most meaning and memory for you? Because sometimes, the most important journeys aren't the fastest ones, but the ones that allow us to truly see where we are. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will catch you on the next one.